KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Are you ready for the best in Sooner football recruiting news? Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Oh, let's go.
Man!
I had no idea we had a new intro.
That was awesome.
That was hype. I'm excited to do this show now. Not that I wasn't before, but hello.
Oh, man.
That got the blood pumping a little bit.
That was good.
Good stuff. Good on you, TJ Perry.
TJ Drake, whoever did that, man, that's a hell of a present right there.
I'm going to give the credit to TJ.
All right.
Even if it was Drake, we're going to give the credit to TJ. Drake has to beat me in chess to earn his props back. That's how we're going to treat this. Drake and I have had an ongoing game of chess on the office chessboard for like a week now.
Did you already smoke him in chess?
We're only like 7 moves in, so there's still it could be over soon.
Oh, that's
over
what you
soon,
were doing during that one break. I was wondering why you were staring so fixated at the chessboard that's in the entryway.
Oh, yeah, I was formulating my next move.
See, I did not know you guys had an ongoing thing going on here.
Yeah, we just take turns making moves whenever we can.
That makes a lot more sense.
Hey, I didn't plan on starting here, but we kind of have to start here because it just happened, and this is jaw-dropping.
Okay.
Grayson Halton popped a 36.5-inch vert at the combine.
Woo!
At 293 pounds.
Okay,
a full 2.5 inches better than any other defensive tackle in Indianapolis.
That'll play.
He will not still be on the board at the end of the second round at this rate.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Like, you vert 36.5 inches after what he did at the Senior Bowl as well. I mean, he could shut it down now, and he's going to be a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, that's impressive. Good on him, man. And I know I told the story about how I met him, but I mean, terrifying too.
Oh, yes, it's terrifying. It's terrifying, all right. Grayson Halton, good on you, dude.
That's incredible, man.
Keep balling. Keep balling. Stock going up. All right. We teased it at the end of the 1 o'clock hour, but let's pivot here now. It has been 1 year, Grayson Singleton, since Jim Naggie was officially announced as Oklahoma's new general manager, and I remember the day it happened. Talk about stunning. Talk about jaw-dropping. There were a lot of jaws that hit the floor when Oklahoma pulled off the Jim Naggie hire. Because this is and was a guy very overqualified to be a general manager at the collegiate level. He had spent a quarter century in the NFL ranks as a scout, front office exec. He'd been the executive director of the Senior Bowl at that point for almost 7 years. And yet Oklahoma had managed to hire him away to be their new general manager on February 26th, 2025. And that felt like a statement, Grayson, especially after the 2024 season that had just unfolded the way that it had for Oklahoma. That felt like a serious statement. Okay, this administration, this athletic department, they are serious about competing and going to the lengths that other programs across the nation had not yet gone, some of whom still haven't gone, in order to ensure that you're getting the most out of the 85 scholarship guys that time, now 105 scholarship guys on your roster, and being able to maximize the dollars that you're spending to put a winning product on the field. How do you do that? Well, in Oklahoma's mind at the time, you do it by bringing in a guy in Jim Naggie that flat out can just scout better than all of his peers across the industry in college football and can build out a front office full of guys who can scout better than everybody else across the landscape of college football. And thus far, man, it's only been a year. We're not going to make any sweeping, grandiose judgments about Jim Naggie after just 1 year on the job. But through 1 year, there's been a whole heck of a lot of good from Jim Naggie as Oklahoma's GM.
Yeah, Oklahoma's going in the right direction. They are markedly better set up today than they were 365 days ago. And the big thing that comes from this for me is that he has allowed the coaches to be coaches. And that's all that, I mean, coaches, especially in this day and age, what has driven coaches bananas in this day and age is that they had to be the liaison between the school and the athlete in terms of money. They are ill-equipped to do that. They do not have the necessary education. They do not have the necessary experience to be able to manage rosters within the structure and constraints of finances. So that needed to be taken off the coaches' plates. And when you allow Jim Naggie to be in there and to take that off of the coaches' plates, and by the way, go get the coaches some players that they may otherwise wouldn't have stumbled across because they don't have the amount of time and energy to dedicate to scouting at that type of a level. We're talking Keldrick Ben type stuff, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that they have that guy who can do that and allow the coaches to just coach puts Oklahoma not just ahead of the curve, but it puts everybody back in their natural places where they can be successful. And one thing I've learned as I've gone through life, I haven't lived that long, but I've lived a pretty decent amount of time, is that when people are in their right spots to use their God-given skill sets, things tend to become more and more successful. So to me, it wasn't a coincidence that Jim Naggie hops on and all of a sudden you got one of the better 2027 recruiting classes. It's not a coincidence that you are 10-2 and in the college football playoff and things are looking up, because people now, with the changing world of college football, are back where they're supposed to be.
Oklahoma needed an actual general manager. They needed somebody to fill the role of, a role that I guess resembles the NFL general manager with the direction that the sport was going at the time and continues to go. Because for Brent Venables, man, especially as somebody who went 6-7 twice in his first 3 years at the helm at Oklahoma, on the one hand, he had bigger fish to fry. He needed to put a winning product on the field. And he needed to be able to focus on the X's and O's and getting the most out of his roster and not having to worry about all of the other nonsense that happens at the top level. Because, do you think Brent Venables got into coaching 35 years ago?
No.
To negotiate dollar amounts?
Absolutely not.
With backup offensive guards and third-string cornerbacks?
Absolutely
no,
not.
But guess what? If you don't have a general manager, as Oklahoma didn't, well, I guess they had Curtis Lofton in what was the quote-unquote GM role, but it was a cheap facsimile of what Jim Naggie is doing now and has done for last year. When you're the head coach and you don't have a front office, you don't have a general manager, guess what? That falls under your umbrella, your purview, and you have to handle those things. Or you have to delegate to other people that those things get handled. And I guarantee you, no part of Brent Venables wanted to be managing those tasks. Brent Venables wants to coach ball. Every single coach across the profession, with very few exceptions, all those guys want to do is coach ball.
Why do you think Tony Bennett abruptly retires at Virginia? Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski get out the game. Jay Wright gets out the game. They don't want to do all this. They just want to teach their sport.
And that's why so many college coaches have made the jump to the NFL this offseason.
Yes.
It's because they're starting to realize, man, there's a lot on my plate that I did not sign up for when I took this job. Stuff that I did not have to worry about 5 years ago that I have to worry about now for the vitality of my program. Maybe I should just go to the NFL where all I have to focus on is the 6 to 10 guys in my position group. And there's a front office, and there are scouts, and there's the team president and GM to take care of assembling the roster every single year and making decisions on draft day, and I just get to worry about X's and O's because that's what ball coaches love, is they love X's and O's.
Not dollars and cents.
On the First Liberty Bank text line, 405-651-3439, Outlaw Devil says, good afternoon to my two favorite radio personalities. Good afternoon to you, Outlaw
What's up,
Devil.
man?
He says, I hope you're having a banger of a day. Likewise. Any word on Owen Heineke and his combine performance? So the combine is kind of staggered. And so I believe Owen Heineke's actual combine testing happens tomorrow. So you're going to continue to get combine results throughout the week and weekend. It's not all going to drop at once. And, that's why I led the show with the real-time feedback that we're getting via Twitter.com on Grayson Halton, because defensive linemen are working at the combine right now, today, defensive tackles more specifically. And there are different position groups that do different things on different timetables. So once we have results from Heineke, we'll certainly pass those along. We'll pass along whatever we get in real time throughout the afternoon here. I'm sure the guys on the rush will take care of that just as we will take care of it here for the remainder of the 2 o'clock hour. But Grayson Halton, not only did he log the highest vertical by a country mile among defensive tackles, but he also logged the third best broad jump for defensive tackles. So he's not going to win every single test, but he won the vert, and he was on the podium in the broad.
So basically what we know is this dude has insane explosiveness.
That is correct. And it has shown up on tape,
It has.
obviously.
No, it absolutely has.
But verified testing data, verified combine data. I mean, these are the things that are checking the final boxes for NFL scouts when they look at the 4-year career that Grayson Halton compiled at the University of Oklahoma. What he did was continuously impressive. Year over year, like from cracking the rotation as a true freshman, the way that he did in 2022, amidst some less than stellar circumstances when Oklahoma had a lot of things to figure out on the defensive side of the ball, to eventually working his way into the starting lineup as a spot starter in 2024, and then a full-time rotation piece, a guy that was on the field a ton those last couple of years at Oklahoma. We remarked on this many a time over the course of his career, but it felt like every single time he was on the field, he was making something happen, whether it showed up on the stat sheet and in the box score or not. You felt Grayson Halton when he was on the field.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Swole Shiesty on the YouTube chat, which, by the way, KREF Sports on YouTube, and you'll find us, says, thank goodness y'all are on. Bless both of y'all. I mean, I don't know if that means your day has not been going good or whatever, but glad we could be a part of it.
Yeah, likewise. He might just be bored on a Thursday afternoon. And if so, you know what? That's what we're here for.
Exactly.
Talking ball, talking shop. Glenn from Nashville says, I get that it's a good thing to scout the country and find players that are flying under the radar, but it certainly is frustrating when we find kids like the defensive end out of Mobile, Alabama, that started to garner attention as soon as OU started paying attention to him, and the next thing you know, he's getting an Alabama offer and telling OU no thanks. I hate to waste money scouting the country only to have the players you find stay at home. I get where you're coming from, Glenn, but
yeah,
that's just kind of how it goes, man.
I was about to say, that's just going to be the risk you run.
Yeah, it gives and takes away. You benefit from it just as other schools benefit from your strong. Like, yes, Alabama swooped in at the last second and scooped up Malik Franklin from Daphne, Alabama, after Oklahoma had been the first big school to identify his talent and to make him a priority late in the 2026 cycle. But keep in mind, there are plenty of instances over the years where Oklahoma has crashed the party for another school that was on a kid much sooner. For instance, Jacob Curry was committed to Northwestern. Oklahoma throws a hat in the ring last July. By October, he's committed to the Sooners. So every single school is going to be subject to what you would consider to be wasted resources on the recruiting trail. You might categorize it as wasted resources as an outsider, but to the people in those offices, it's just the cost of doing business. You know, like in order to identify talent, identify the proper talent, identify guys that are good enough to play high-level P4 football at a place like Oklahoma and that fit within the constraints of the roster in terms of numbers and dollar amounts, etc., you're going to have to cast a wider net than the one you wind up reeling in.
Yes.
And so you're going to see Oklahoma offer 150 to 200 prospects every single cycle, and they will pursue genuine relationships with, and they will sink resources into 150 to 200 prospects. They'll only sign like 25. And so it really is just the cost of doing business. Every single school feels that. Every single school experiences that. There is no school in the country that is going to go 25 for 25 or anywhere close to it. You're going to wind up investing resources into kids that you don't get.
It's almost like the dating game, right?
Yeah.
Where, I mean, the people that you end up as partners, no matter how long you date them or if you end up marrying them, yeah, you get to that one that you have an extended relationship with, but how many other first dates did you go on? How many other, hey, let's chill and do that? How many others of those were there? It's just like the dating game. I will say this, North Alabama thought they had a hell of a prospect.
That they did.
And then Jim Naggie and them slid in there in the last week and signed Christian Miller. Is that Christian Miller, right?
Christian Moore.
Moore, thank you. Christian Moore, a linebacker that was a late add to the class. So,
Iowa State thought they stole a gem out of South Florida at the tail end of the 2022 cycle until Oklahoma crashed the party for R. Mason Thomas.
Well, also Iowa State this year, man, I'm really starting to feel sorry for Iowa State. They thought they had a guy in Milan Paris.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up in Miami, right?
He did end up in Miami. But again, cost of doing business.
Yep.
At Iowa State, you jump on guys early, you're going to wind up signing some really, really good players that honor the fact and respect the fact that you were first to the table. Iowa State almost got Xavier Robinson. Remember that? They almost got Xavier Robinson. I mean, that was a hotly contested battle down the stretch between OU and Iowa State for Xavier Robinson, and it was because Iowa State had offered him months before any other P4 school. But Xavier Robinson's from Midwest City, Oklahoma, and the illustrious University of win some, you lose some. It's true in life. It's true in sports. It's certainly true in recruiting. Keep it coming on the First Liberty Bank text line, 405-651-3439. More to come. This is Locked In on the home of Sooner fans, the Ref Sports Radio Network.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Good times are calling your name at Riverwind.
So fill your heart with jackpots at OKC's favorite casino. Catch the hottest entertainment at the Showplace Theater.
Or take it all home on a classic table game.
Play with your wild card, and every Friday in February,
You could win stacks of cash with our $250,000 Love Struck Luck giveaway.
So make it a date, and we'll see you at Riverwind.
They don't want to hire you because your paper might say Oklahoma School for the Blind.
I was just completely homebound because I was always too afraid to go outside. I want to be a productive member of society, and that's what DRS has given me.
They offer you opportunities to getting a job, helping you learn how to advocate for yourself, find the best way to try living your life in the fullest way possible.
Oklahoma and DRS has been the biggest blessing in my life.
See me.
And not my disability.
Flu season is here, and getting sick was never in your game plan. When you're sidelined by illness, don't wait on a doctor's appointment and don't waste a trip to the ER. Get back in the lineup fast with same-day care from Norman Regional. With urgent care and walk-in clinics across Moore and Norman, they're always ready to make the right call. Already a Norman Regional patient? They've got your records on hand to draft up the winning play right when you need it. Find the clinic nearest to you at normanregional.com or dial 405-515-5000. Norman Regional Urgent Care and Walk-In Clinics, open when you need it.
Are you ready for spring sports season? Gear up like a champion with Balfour & Norman's exclusive apparel for OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics. From the diamond to the gym, we've got the latest shirts, hats, and fan gear that show your Sooner pride in style. Whether you're cheering in the stands or repping your team around town, Balfour of Norman has you covered. Visit us today on Campus Corner or online at crimsonproud.com. Balfour of Norman, where you'll find everything Sooner.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it expanding your balance. Spend it expanding your mind. Spend it wondering what comes next. Spend it trusting that God has a plan. Spend it taking small steps in your own life. Spend it making a big impact on someone else's. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Plumbing and air conditioning problems seem to happen at the worst time. Hey, it's Chris Plank here. And a while back when we had a plumbing issue at our home, our first call was to Norman Air. The team at Norman Air was great, from upfront pricing to alerts before the tech arrived. The whole experience from start to finish was great. With financing available to their Max membership and servicing from North Edmond all the way south to Purcell, Norman Air is the go-to for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical issues. Visit normanair.com today.
Are you ready for winter in Oklahoma? Hi, this is Reese with Cavens Group. With temperatures getting cold at night, the chances are higher that you could be faced with pipes bursting, and that can lead to water loss and damage to your home or business. Cavens is family owned, fully equipped, and always ready. Call Cavens Group at 316-221-9632 or visit cavensgroup.com. We are ready 24 hours a day to help. Cavens Group. You don't need us until you need us.
Ready to serve up some fun? Westwood Tennis Center has you covered. Play year-round on indoor and outdoor courts. Grab an annual membership or reserve your court today. We've got lessons and clinics for kids, plus $5 pickleball every Saturday and Sunday from 6 to 9 p.m. Visit westwoodtennis.com or call 405-366-8859 for daily hours. That's Westwood Tennis Center, 405-366-8859.
It is February 26th, February 26th, 2026, and it will be known to posterity as Grayson Halton Day. Grayson Halton just ran a 4.83 in the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine, Mr. Singleton. The fastest 40-yard dash by a defensive tackle at the NFL Combine last year came from Ty Robinson of Nebraska. Would you care to hazard a guess as to what he ran?
Let's go 4.79.
He ran a 4.83.
Oh.
So,
wow.
Grayson Halton's first 40-yard dash attempt would have tied for the best 40-yard dash at the Combine last year. Obviously, we won't know complete results until all of the defensive tackles run their 40s. But after a 36.5-inch vert and a 9'6" broad jump, Grayson Halton is probably the biggest stock riser of the day thus far at the NFL Combine.
You would have to imagine. And I look at NFL.com after the Combine every year, and I want to see the list of all the people whose stock rose and fell. I believe Grayson Halton is probably going to be in the first three names mentioned.
I mean, you know, I forget, is it PFF that does the RAS, the raw athleticism score, where they basically pool together all of the Combine data and generate essentially a rating out of 10.
Yeah.
And it just basically like puts you somewhere on the spectrum of all the athletes that have ever been draft eligible or have performed at the Combine in the modern era. And so, like, obviously anything north of 9.5 or 9.6 is next level elite. Grayson Halton's probably going to be in that territory with how strong these Combine results have been so far.
Yes. This is impressive, man.
Holy smokes, man. 293 pounds, too. He weighed in at 293. 36.5-inch vert, 4.83-inch 40, or 4.3 second 40. Slim Brady asked, what was his arm length? I have that data. Let me get it for you. 1 second here. His arm length, 31.18. 6 foot 2.5, 10-inch hands, 77-inch wingspan. That'll play. A verified source says, no, it's just RAS football. Okay, so it's kind of like a standalone metric then. a 386 listener from the state of Florida, informing us that Zane Durant, defensive tackle out of Penn State, ran a 4.76 in his first run. Grayson Halton was the second fastest behind Durant among defensive tackles.
That's still not bad, man.
So let's see. Vert, broad jump, 40. Grayson Halton has gone first, third, second. That'll do.
Heck of a performance. Two-star Jay in Tulsa says, going back to our intro, that was debuted today, TJ pumped some promo Viagra into that intro.
209 listener says, kind of an overall recruiting question. Parker Singleton is a 5-star player out of Northwest Eastern High School. I'm loving this hypothetical so far. OU offers the kid. Is there an NIL package attached to the deal? And more schools start to offer this kid? Does OU try to up the NIL, or how does that work? Okay. Basically how it goes is the NIL, in most cases, the NIL offers don't hit the table until much later in the recruiting process. There has to be a genuine relationship developed there first. There has to be a camaraderie developed. For Oklahoma and that front office under Jim Naggie, they have to get the sense that the kid actually likes Oklahoma for Oklahoma's sake before they're going to start negotiating dollars and cents with him. There are some schools that will be very aggressive early in the process after initially building the relationship, and they will get financial on the table or financial offers on the table very quickly. If you'll recall, Cooper Hackett committed to Texas Tech last August, right as his junior year of high school was beginning. There are plenty of targets for Oklahoma that will not get their NIL quote-unquote offer. They will not get that sheet pushed in front of them by Oklahoma until they take their official visit in June. It won't take that long for all those guys. It kind of just depends upon how the timeline is progressing organically. How soon does a guy want to commit? How soon is he ready to get serious about the numbers with OU or any other school for that matter? So, no, it's not as if you're throwing out an NIL offer the second that you give a kid a scholarship offer. But in some cases, things can move pretty quickly. In the majority of cases, the NIL negotiations will start to happen in earnest the winter/spring of a kid's junior season. So for class of 2027 prospects, a lot of those conversations are happening right now. Michael in Marlow wants to know, you think Parker Singleton will wind up doing local radio after his career?
Yeah. I think you would.
You'd find a spot for him on the ref. So as we mentioned off the top, Grayson, it's been a full year of Jim Naggie as Oklahoma's general manager. His hiring was announced 1 year ago. If you had to pick one thing, what is the defining moment of the Jim Naggie era so far at Oklahoma? What is the one thing for which you give Jim Naggie the most credit?
To me, I think it would be Keldred Ben. And the reason it's Keldred Ben is because I think that's the most tangible way we can see, oh, that's Jim Naggie. Now, you could say the transfer portal class after the 2025 season, and, you know, that'll remain to be seen, whether or not that translates into the same level of success or more or less that they experienced in 2025. But when Keldred Ben is a no-name, unranked guy, only holds offers from McNeese State, and then commits to Oklahoma, and then about a month later debuts as the number 86 player in the country? Oh, that's Jim Naggie. Like that's the one where you look at it and say, got it. That's what this dude is. And this is right about the time that I thought we'd start to see his fingerprints on things. But when you look at that, that's where you see him and say, that's the guy who is elite at finding talent and getting it and not caring about what the recruiting services and everybody else says. He's going to do his own thing. He did his own thing, and we saw a pretty quick reward that was reaped because of it. So that's what I would go with.
We've seen several spectacular evals. Since Jim Naggie showed up. Keldred Ben might be the best of the bunch. Jacob Curry was a great eval. Jaden Petit, before he was a big name, was an awesome eval by the front office. To me, And there are several on the text line saying roster retention, that's important as well. I don't want to dismiss that. To me, though, I would point to Jake Krell. And the reason I would point to Jake Krell is because, at least in year one, what I wanted to see from Jim Naggie and the OU front office is that they were capable of winning the high-profile recruiting battles that they ought to win. Deploying resources in such a fashion that they could go and land a high 4-star, borderline 5-star guy out of the state of Florida when he had every reason to favor OU in the first place, based on the relationship that he had built with Miguel Chavis and with Brent Venables and the whole staff at Oklahoma. Like, you had a natural inroad. You had a natural advantage with a guy like Cooper Hackett. And it was impressive that Oklahoma was able to turn Cooper Hackett back from his Texas Tech commitment after just 3.5 weeks. But what's more impressive to me was the fact that there was a lot of money wrapped up into the pursuit of Jake Krell for many schools, including Oklahoma. It came down to OU and Texas in the end. It was those two. And Oklahoma had had the inside track for a long, long time with Krell. But when push came to shove and you had to get the numbers ironed out and you had to make a deal happen with one of the absolute best prospects in the entire 2026 cycle, regardless of position, Jim Naggie and co. got it done. And it's not the first instance of that happening in the NIL era at Oklahoma. OU landed Michael Fasusi before Jim Naggie got to town, in addition to several other high-dollar guys over the years. But you think about some of those recruitments that broke down in the final days over matters of money. DJ Hicks comes to mind. Williams Winery certainly comes to mind. And there are myriad other examples that you can cite. To me, I wanted to see how Jim Naggie and his crew would navigate all of the twists and turns and peaks and valleys that come with a high-profile recruitment of a high-profile player that you have to pay a premium for. And they executed it flawlessly.
I can't disagree with that one bit. I mean, I think there are a multitude of ways where you can look at Jim Naggie and say he has put Oklahoma in a better position than they would have been without him. And, I mean, that's the job of the GM. There should not be only one instance of that in a full calendar year. There should be multiple. You just got to pick which one that sticks out to you. Ryan in Jacksonville on the First Liberty Bank text line says, I disagree. It's the David Stone U-turn. And
that was significant, too.
That is a big development that happened last summer. So, yeah, I mean, there are many ways you can go about this to remember the first year of Jim Naggie at Oklahoma. But the one thing that all of us can say and all of us can agree on is that Oklahoma's in a great direction and they're in a much better spot than they would have been without him.
Cup of Dirt asked, you think Caden Green would have stuck around had Naggie been in place? We're dealing in hypotheticals here, but I think the answer is yes. I think if it had been Naggie and Lake Dawson and Taylor Redd having those conversations and engaging in that back and forth with Caden Green and his folks about NIL for the coming season, I think it would have ended differently than it did, just based on some of the behind-the-scenes insights that I've received over the years on what was all going on at that time between OU and Caden Green. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to deal with that whole fiasco if Naggie had been in place, a year and a half sooner? Frisco Sooner on the text line says, guys, I'm not trying to be confrontational, but I think we need to tap the brakes a bit with anointing Jim Naggie the best in college football. I mean, look, personally, I love Jim Naggie and what he brings to the table, but I'm just saying I think the jury is still somewhat out with him. He just simply hasn't been employed at OU long enough to make that determination. My vote would probably have to go to whoever the hell is in charge of Indiana's talent evaluation. But I will say this, it does appear he has OU trending in the right direction, and I do like what he's doing. Yeah, and look, I said off the top, Frisco Sooner, you can't make any sweeping judgments about Jim Naggie after 1 year. You have to look at the data and what it says, but it doesn't tell you the whole story, not even close to it. It won't tell you a comprehensive story for probably at least another couple years as to how valuable Jim Naggie has actually been for Oklahoma. But the early returns have been strong. And by the way, whoever the hell is in charge of Indiana's talent evaluation, that would be Curt Cignetti.
I was about to say.
He is his own general manager.
They don't have a GM.
No, it's Curt Cignetti. Curt Cignetti personally signs off on every single offer they make and every single recruit that they pursue. And as the legend goes, he is quite a stickler about it. There is no one in college football that is worth more than Curt Cignetti. He gets paid $13 million a year, and that's probably a bargain.
And he probably deserves 26.
Amen.
Curt Cignetti strikes me as a crazy person, too.
He is the epitome of a football junkie.
I would say he is maniacal.
I don't know
when
what
it comes to this kind of stuff.
If the game of football as we know it ceased to exist, I don't know what Curt Cignetti would be doing with his life. Pretty sure football is all he knows. And it's awesome. Football and beer. The Curt Cignetti way.
Does he have a spouse?
He does.
Okay.
And several children. Yeah.
Okay, so he, could spend time, with his family.
Well, yeah, but you got to pay the bills, right?
I mean, that too.
What's he doing professionally if not football?
Well, I mean, at this point, I think he'd be all right.
That is true. That is true. But, like, if he'd never had football as a career in the first place,
okay, yeah.
What would that guy be doing? I don't know. Maybe he'd be a paper salesman, like Dwight Schrute. A verified source informed us that the second run for Grayson Halton was a 4.86, so a couple hundredths worse than his first run. His best run at the Combine, then, is that 4.83 on the first attempt. Pretty dang good.
Bob from
Pay that man his money.
And he will get paid. Bob from Cement says, Naggie wears jeans and a sport coat on the sideline and has a neck beard. Let's pump the brakes. What's wrong with jeans and a sport coat?
You beefing with Jim Nagy's style here, Bob?
Yeah, come on now.
Jeans and a sport coat, you can pull it off if you're a certain type of person.
You ever worn jeans and a sport coat?
I have not. I can't pull it off.
Really?
No.
You should try it.
You think so?
Yeah, you should try it. I like jeans and a sport coat.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty traditional when it comes to sport coats. I
Yeah.
want to pair them with slacks.
Yeah, because you don't like turtlenecks with suits either.
No, I'm not a turtleneck guy. Again, that's just something I can't pull off. You can, and you do it well. Me, I don't look great in a turtleneck. I'm very self-aware in that regard.
Both Tattoo Baker and Outlaw Devil said pretty much at the same time Curt Cignetti would be a serial killer.
Oh, man. 405-651-3439 is the first Liberty Bank text line. We got one final segment coming up here on Locked In. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We shall return.
Dusty Dvorak here. You're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Hey there, Ref Army. It's Dory Noka. Name coming up. Host of the Dory Noka Show and lead anchor of the SEC Network. Catch Josh Helmer and myself every weekday, 9 to noon, as we'll talk everything OU and the SEC. No better way to listen to us, 9 to noon, than by downloading the KREF app, powered by Warren Cat. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store, search for KREF, and you'll never miss a show, no matter what, no matter where you go. That's the KREF app, presented by Warren Cat. Whatever the job, whatever it takes.
This winter, hit the court and join the action. The Youth Winter Basketball League is here, open to athletes of all skill levels. Build your game, make new friends, and compete in a fun, supportive environment. With flexible registration options and volunteer coaches focused on teamwork, there's a spot for everyone, whether you're playing for fun or aiming to compete. Don't miss out on early bird pricing. Scholarships are available for Norman residents based on need. Sign up today and make this season unforgettable. Visit YFACsport.com.
Hi Norman, it's DJ Newsom with Alliance Bank, your community-driven, friendly neighborhood bank. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur, lead a nonprofit organization, or just someone seeking a better banking experience, we've got you covered. From business to personal banking, we tailor our services to suit everyone's needs. We believe in making banking easy and enjoyable. Visit our Norman location or call us today at 405-286-5750. Alliance Bank, banking tailored to your needs. Member FDIC.
It's our President's Day sales event at Lander CDJR of Norman. Take up to $14,000 off of MSRP on select new 2025 Jeep Gladiator Sports, or get up to $12,750 off of new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokees. And as always, straightforward internet pricing with no special add-ons when you get here. Gladiator stock number SL534894, Grand Cherokee stock number SC346406. Tired of feeling pressured by salespeople when shopping for auto insurance? At Right Way Insurance, there's no hard sell, just a clear, straightforward approach. We work with multiple insurance companies to give you the best options and rates with no gimmicks. You'll get the right coverage tailored to your needs, all while avoiding hidden fees and confusing policies. So if you're ready for a better experience with auto insurance, visit rightwayinsuranceok.com or call 405-607-6014 for your free quote today. Right Way Insurance, no pressure, just the right insurance for you.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Here at The Ref, we know football, and we talk football every single day. But it wouldn't be possible without the great people at Wade Electric. Because while we know football, we trust Wade Electric for all of our electrical needs. Anytime we need electrical work done at our station, we call Wade Electric. They've been out to install new exterior lighting, convert interior lighting to LED, update devices, and install new power where needed. Call them today at 405-329-1940. Wade Electric, the electrical experts.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the-right-seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
You got to be a real OU baseball sicko to remember Ryan Lambert. Good on you if you do. Ryan Lambert spent one season at Oklahoma as a reliever. He was a member of Skip Johnson's bullpen in 2024. I ran across a story on him today on MLB.com, courtesy of Anthony DiComo. And Ryan Lambert is apparently making a lot of noise in the New York Mets organization, a guy that they think very highly of and think isn't far off from being a high-leverage reliever in the major leagues. The crazy thing about Ryan Lambert, though, at one point, he was eating 30 raw eggs a day to try and increase his velocity. As it says in the story, the 23-year-old is fanatical about his diet, grilling steak and cooking sweet potatoes most days. During a minor league game in Maryland last year, he took a teammate to a Brazilian steakhouse and ordered a bowl of chicken hearts. But he doesn't eat 30 raw eggs a day anymore. He still eats about 10 raw eggs a day.
I was about to say,
according to the
holy
story.
cholesterol.
Well, not only that, eggs aren't cheap these days.
That too.
The price of eggs has tripled in the last year or two? Eggs are a lot more expensive than they were once upon a time. That's commitment to your craft when you are willing to hork down 30 raw eggs a day to try and add muscle mass and pack on additional velocity to that fastball. Holy cow, man.
So does salmonella just not exist or something like that?
That's what I'm saying, man. How do you not get sick at a certain point?
And also, why do they have to be raw? Just cook them.
Whatever the case, man, it works. Because he's clocking 101, 102 with the fastball these days. And he was just kind of an also-ran when Skip Johnson picked him up. He was a transfer from Missouri State that had actually gotten cut at Missouri State because he couldn't command the fastball. And that was kind of still his struggle that one year he was at Oklahoma. But when you throw hard, some team's going to look at you. Some MLB organization's going to look at you and think, I can fix him. The Mets drafted him in the 8th round, and apparently he's doing all the right things in that organization. He played high school ball in Minnetonka, Minnesota. I played Minnetonka a couple times over the years when I was in high school. It must just be a Minnesota thing, man. Everybody throws hard up there. Like, they had some of the hardest throwing pitchers I ever faced. And they had a couple dudes that could hit nukes, too.
They be throwing those snowballs up there. That's probably why.
Probably why, man. Year-round arm strength training. Got snow on the ground 6 months out of the year. Brian Bigsby says, you know what makes you throw harder? 30 eggs a day and steroids. Ryan Lambert, I assume, isn't taking steroids. MLB, Major League Baseball, has been pretty severe about steroid use. Ever since the golden age of steroids.
I mean, to the point where, Major League Baseball will suspend you 80 games for not even steroids, just like
they take performance-enhancing substances very seriously.
Their banned substance list, I don't know if you guys see these, because there's about 5 of them a year that happen. But you read the articles underneath, X was suspended for 80 games for X, Y, or Z, and it's some wild stuff that they've got on their banned substance list.
Oh, man. Getting back on track here, going back to recruiting, there's a soundbite I want to play for y'all. A soundbite from Rivals National Director of Recruiting, Chad Simmons. And some of y'all will immediately catch my drift here, but we'll put 2 and 2 together after the fact if the reason for this soundbite being played isn't immediately apparent. Here is what Chad Simmons had to say today about a certain prospect that is trending nicely for the University of Florida.
I'll give you at least a few names to watch, starting with Davin Davidson, who's been a hot name here in the last few weeks. He's kind of exploded with 20-plus offers, since January. He grew up going to Florida games. Never really had like that dream school Florida, but I think if anyone has the inside track, it's Florida. In-state school. He's from Cardinal Mooney in Sarasota, won a state championship back in December. He visited there and there only in January. He'll be back this spring, and he wants to make a decision even before he takes official visits. So I think this one will be pretty quick.
Davin Davidson, for those unfamiliar, is a 4-star quarterback out of Cardinal Mooney High School in the state of Florida. And if indeed things are trending well between Florida and Davin Davidson, why might that news be significant for the University of Oklahoma, Mr. Singleton?
Because that frees up one Jamison Roberts.
Yes, indeed. Over the weekend, many saw and started wringing their hands over the headline from Steve Wiltfong that was touting Florida as a sleeper contender in the Jamison Roberts recruitment, which, of course, Oklahoma leads and has led for some time. But if Florida has indeed elected to focus on Davin Davidson, and they're closing in on a commitment, potentially an imminent commitment from Davin Davidson, then that's one less point of concern in the Jamison Roberts recruitment. There's not a lot of concern there anyway, as we've discussed. But anybody that was worried about Florida to any extent probably shouldn't be worried after hearing that soundbite from Chad, who's one of the most plugged-in guys in the industry. As long as things stay on track between Florida and Davin Davidson, things should continue to stay on track between Oklahoma and Jamison Roberts.
No, that's good news. Because I'll tell you what, this 2027 class does not need any more drama at the quarterback position. You went through with Peyton Houston, and then we had this waiting period, remember, post-Peyton Houston, where we didn't really know where they were going to go. We threw out a bunch of different names, and then they landed on Jamison Roberts. So if we can get through the rest of the cycle with no more drama, should be pretty smooth sailing from here.
And I would think, especially if things really heat up in the next couple of weeks between Florida and Davin Davidson, I'm not counting on Jamison Roberts to lock in a commitment with Oklahoma at the Future Freaks Junior Day on March 7th. But it's a possibility, man. That possibility is very much on the table. It is. I don't know that I would call it a strong possibility, but would it shock anybody? I mean, you look at the other contenders for his commitment. Yeah, you got Ole Miss on that offer sheet. You got like Arkansas and Stanford and Iowa. Of course, Iowa's trending nicely for a different quarterback in the 2027 class, a kid named Jake Narot. But Oklahoma just seems to make sense for Jamison Roberts at this point. It's difficult to envision a world where that turns sideways with the work that Ben Arbuckle and the staff have done in pursuing the tremendous signal caller out of Saraland, Alabama. I think between him, Jalen Scott, Tyson Ross up in Wichita, Kansas, potentially a guy like Gus Corsair from Hayes, things could get rolling for Oklahoma in a big way in the month of March. 13 commits already on board. Oklahoma's not necessarily feeling the crunch to expand the class in the immediate future. But I really do believe, Grayson, that Jamison Roberts, I'll make this prediction at the very least. He's going to be the only quarterback that takes an official visit with Oklahoma. Whether he's committed by then or not, he's going to be the only quarterback that takes a summer OV with Oklahoma.
So basically what you're saying is they're getting Jamison Roberts.
It's just a matter of when, in my mind.
At this point, it's just formalities.
Mm-hmm. Glenn from Nashville says, there must be multiple Cardinal Mooney high schools around the country. Isn't that where the Stoops brothers played football in Youngstown? I think you're right. And yes, I'm sure there are multiple Cardinal Mooney high schools. There are plenty of high schools around the country that share names. I went to Concordia High School up in Omaha, Nebraska. There are dozens of Concordia high schools around the country.
Yeah, there's one in Houston that I played against.
Exactly. The Waffler says, what do you think Deuce Knight is going to do? Do you think he'll unenroll from Ole Miss and try to go somewhere else? And that kind of rewinds to our conversation last hour with
the
Pete
blind
Nakos.
transfers.
Yeah, if you're looking at blind transfer candidates, that's the type of guy for whom it makes a ton of sense because the expectation was that he was going to be Ole Miss's starter this fall, and he transferred to Ole Miss to be the starter this fall, and then boom, Trinidad Chambliss gets the year back. And all of a sudden, Deuce Knight ain't starting. You're not starting over Trinidad Chambliss. Not happening. Sorry. So you're either going to ride the pine or you're going to pull a Xavier Lucas. Get out of Dodge.
Which, by the way, would any of us actually blame him?
No. No.
For pulling in Xavier Lucas? I wouldn't.
I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game, right?
Yeah.
And the game is the reason why Deuce Knight is at Ole Miss right now. And the game is the reason why I think there's a pretty strong likelihood he won't be at Ole Miss in the fall. Ryan in Jacksonville wants to know, what is a Jamison Roberts comp? That's a good question. I'll be honest with you, Ryan, I haven't thought about that a ton. I don't have one off the dome for you. Have you thought about that, Grayson?
Yeah, I haven't, but you know what? This actually lines up. So we have limited starting experience, big arm, mobile. Now, he is faster than the guy that I'm going to compare him to, but Trey Lance.
Okay.
I look at a guy like Trey Lance, who coming out of college into the NFL did not start a whole lot of games. Jamison Roberts at this point has not started a whole lot of games, but they have big arms, some nice touch, and some mobility. Now, Roberts, I think, is faster than Trey Lance is, but I do see big, strong-arm quarterbacks, limited starting experience. So that's one just right off the dome that I would throw at you.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, Ryan, I think my knee-jerk comp when I was watching Jamison Roberts' tape and a lot of it back in November when Oklahoma first offered him, I think my immediate knee-jerk comp was Bo Pribula. And maybe that's not the sexiest comp, but he's a physically big dude, got a big arm, willing to push it downfield. He can layer throws. He's got good mobility, not a burner, but he can run. And the type of dude that, especially from a personality standpoint, is just going to be a really good leader in an organization somewhere. And obviously Oklahoma hopes that will be in Norman, America. All right, folks. That brings us to the end of what, in my opinion, has been a highly entertaining 3 hours of radio. We will do it all again tomorrow. Grayson and I will be together for Steelman and Thune at noon once again. I will be at Riverwind Casino tomorrow. And then, of course, from 2 to 3, as always, it'll be another installment of Locked In before we head into the weekend. So we hope you'll join us then. And in the meantime, stick around because The Rush is coming up next with Tyler and Ted. For Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. We'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy.